Today on the Morning Edition, a quick moving and rapidly spreading fire near Tok has sparked go-now evacuations and already destroyed some property. We'll bring you the latest on the Mukluk fire. Plus, today is primary election day across the state. People are heading to the voting booths to make their voices heard. Go over the 3 big races happening and take a look at those asking for your support.
Plus, I'm out at East Anchorage High School, and I'll be covering what you need to know and a reminder of what to bring for today's important election as the Morning Edition starts now.
That's right. Polls open at 7 a.m., so be sure to get out there and let your voice be heard. Meantime, Aaron, what's the weather looking like?
We are expecting to see much drier weather today across South Central. With that said, we are waking up to some light rain showers through parts of the valley. Heaviest activity today is in the interior, where we're going to continue to hold on to some of that widespread rainfall. Temperatures, though, holding in the 50s for the vast majority of the state. We're going to continue to see those overnight lows staying in the 40s and the 50s through the rest of this week, while afternoon highs stay in the 50s and 60s. In fact, some of the warmest conditions may only top out in the mid to upper 60s, although we will try to warm near 70 today out towards Tok. Fairly dry this morning. You can see some light rain showers across eastern parts of Prince William Sound. And then as you head into the Matanuska Valley this morning, outside of that, we are going to trend on the drier side with those mostly cloudy to overcast skies. But as you head into the interior this morning, this is where we got some of that persistent widespread rainfall. Both yesterday and today we're going to be some of the wetter days that the interior will see. And we've already picked up a decent amount of rainfall since midnight in some areas, approaching 1/10 of an inch in Fairbanks, 3/100 of an inch in Fort Yukon. As you head out towards Tanana, even higher amounts to be expected. We're going to continue to add on to that as we head through the rest of today. And today's also going to be a cool one. Parts of the interior may only stay in the upper 50s, particularly in areas where we're going to hold on to that rain for a good portion of the day. Southeastern parts of the interior, which will actually trend on the drier side, will be nearly 10 degrees warmer. So we will see a fairly distinct temperature difference through the interior. Cloudy weather for most of this week. Not everyday rain, but we are going to see many areas of the state trending on the wetter side, with highs largely on the cooler side, with temperatures in the 50s and 60s, which is a stark difference from those 70s and 80s that we did see last week. Now, coming up on my full forecast, we'll be talking more about the interior as well as that smoke forecast and what to expect, and that 7-day coming up.
On today is Election Day. Primary elections happening across the state, and while the booths aren't open quite yet, Danny Tompkins joins us now from one location with more details on what to expect. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, Kristen. That's right. I'm here at East Anchorage High School, and we're outside because voting isn't open quite yet, but those will be opening at 7 a.m. and later throughout the day, they will be closing around 8 p.m. And we are told that if you are in line by 8 p.m., you're still good to vote. So if you hop in line at 7:59, you should still be okay to vote. And some important things to note for this election is this is not ranked choice voting, but a pick one primary. So voters will vote for one choice on this ballot, and the top 4 winners will advance to the November ranked choice general election. And on this ballot is the U.S. Senate seat, the Alaska Lone congressional seat, the governor's seat, as well as the ballot proposition limiting campaign contributions, and all state house races and half of the state Senate races as well. And another reminder to make sure you bring some sort of identification today, whether that's a driver's license or your voter's card. And again, they do open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. today. And there's more details on our website as well. Kristen.
All right, thanks, Danny, and we'll go over all of those races in just a moment. But first, the level 3 go evacuations remain in place because of a fast-moving wildfire near Tok. It erupted Monday morning and has already spread to more than 1,500 acres, with at least 6 buildings burned. While multiple helicopters and crews are actively fighting the blaze, state officials tell us they suspect it was human-caused and originated in a backyard just north of the highway. Let's take a look at the area where fire officials say between 6 and 10 structures burned Monday, which could include homes. This area between Sundog Trail and Midnight Sun Road and near Red Fox Road is where we're told structures were most impacted before southwest winds pushed that fire north and east of Tok. It's now being called the Mukluk fire, first reported at just 20 acres at noon, but as of about 1 a.m., This morning, at last update, the fire was estimated over 2,000 acres. State officials say 250 people live in the evacuation area between Moose Horn Road and Sundog Trail. Resources are being focused right now on protecting homes in the path of the fire. Both Tok School on John Summers Drive and the Tok Dog Mushers Association on Alaska Highway have been designated as pet-friendly shelters and are accepting people, pets, and large animals. Currently, tonight, the forecast has a little rain in the area, assisting with fire mitigation efforts, but concerns for later today rise as the temperatures are expected to be warm and dry with strong wind gusts.
Resources have been arriving on the fire all afternoon. Firefighters are there, multiple engines are there, local fire departments are assisting. A couple of helicopters are working into the evening, but they're going to run out of daylight here before long Monday evening. But firefighters will remain on the fire overnight and will continue their work tomorrow.
Alaskans are making their voices heard with nearly 22,000 votes already cast, a record for early voting. This morning, before you head out to cast your vote, we have a preview of the three of the main races. We begin with a race drawing national attention. Here's our Washington correspondent, John Decker, with how things are looking in the race for U.S. Senate.
President Trump easily won Alaska in all 3 of his White House runs. But this traditionally ruby-red state is surprisingly competitive in this November's Senate election.
It's one of the reasons.
Dan Sullivan is dealing with a number of challenges as he seeks a 3rd term as Alaska's junior senator.
I learned that real leadership is about service, sacrifice.
Affordability is a major concern for Alaskans as they deal with gas prices well above $4.80 a gallon. President Trump has a disapproval rating of roughly 51%, and Sullivan is facing an opponent who is also named Dan Sullivan. That led President Trump on Saturday to issue a strong endorsement for Senator Dan Sullivan, writing on Truth Social, Democrats are trying to trick Alaskans and treat Alaskan voters with contempt. He continued, don't be fooled. The senator you want to vote for is Sullivan Dan S., registered Republican incumbent. Senator Sullivan is also facing a strong challenge from former Democratic Congresswoman Mary Peltola.
No matter how young, no matter how old.
Who's been elected statewide twice. Peltola is running as an independent-minded centrist, even rejecting a recent endorsement from former Vice President Kamala Harris, who lost Alaska to Donald Trump by 13 points in 2024. Tuesday's primary is nonpartisan, and the top 4 vote-getters will advance to the general election. With Republicans holding on to a narrow majority in the Senate, the White House views this Senate election as one of the most important in the country. In Anchorage, Alaska, I'm John Decker.
The primary also includes the U.S. House, which has 15 people vying for the job. Rebecca Palsha continues our team coverage.
My MO is that you want something done, ask Don to do it.
Congressman Don Young had the job 49 years. Mary Peltola was voted in next. Then Nick Begich. So who wants to be in the U.S. House now? All of these people. This is what your ballot will look like. And even though he dropped out, Democrat Matt Schultz still has his name there. He endorsed independent Bill Hill, but doesn't think he's the best person for the job.
I don't think he is, honestly. I think I am. But the way that this campaign is run is that there's simply too much outside money coming in to allow me to be a viable candidate at this time. That being the case, after the primary, he will be the only one with the money to take on Nick Begich. And Nick Begich is an absolutely disastrous choice. So I'm encouraging my supporters to vote for Bill Hill in November.
I mean, from your answer, though, I think people could probably deduce you would be more interested in caucusing with Democrats at this point.
I guess we'll find out when the election comes.
Hill says he wants costs to be reduced and public education needs more support. For his part, Begich brought in a big name to show he's got support in Washington. House Speaker Mike Johnson.
I think it shows not only that Congress is behind him, and that he's actually being very effective in office. And the speaker's coming here to help him. I think this says a lot.
And what it means, voters decide. Rebecca Pulsha, Alaska's news source.
Another race to watch is the competition for governor. It's one of the most competitive races we're watching this primary season, and that's because there are so many names in the race. And as Will Courtney reports, many with a good chance of getting through the primary.
17 candidates are vying for the top seat in Alaska. Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy is term limited, and that leaves a vacuum many are looking to fill. Of the crowded field, a dozen Republicans, 2 Democrats, and 3 independents. That includes former state lawmakers, private sector leaders, and former members of the Dunleavy administration. That and a former governor. Alaskans will get to vote for one of those choices in the primary. The top 4 winners are going to advance to the general election, where in November, voters will get to rank their choices. Will Courtney, Alaska's news source.
Polls across the state are open today from 7 until 8. Remember to bring a valid ID and get out and let your voice be heard. Still ahead today on the Morning Edition, it's a topic that usually comes up sooner rather than later, AI. Is it advancing too quickly, or is it a necessary tool? We'll talk to one group that has quite a lot to say on the topic coming up.
And while we can't rule out some light showers across south central today, largely on the dry side, better chance for rain in the interior. I'll have more on that. But first at sunrise, 6:16 in Anchorage, 5:24 in Mukluk. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back in on this Tuesday morning. Clouds in the sky and rain in the forecast, Aaron.
As we head through the rest of today, we do have rain building in across the state. Not as wet for south central as what we did see yesterday, but we still can't rule out a spotty to isolated shower. Temperatures holding in the 50s across the vast majority of Alaska, although the slope waking up to temperatures in the 30s this morning. We could see portions of the slope through the overnight hours or later this evening into the night, seeing a chance for some wintry mix. And that's primarily going to be for western parts of the slope, particularly as you head out towards Utqiagvik. Into the interior this morning, we've got 40s and 50s. Now, one location of the interior we're going to be watching for warmer conditions today will be through southeastern regions. This is where we're going to see temperatures warming into the upper 60s, possibly near 70 degrees, while the rest of the interior stays in the upper 50s and lower 60s. And that's where we're going to continue to hold on to some of that rainfall. You can see how it's really gripping the central interior, portions of the Yukon Flats. Fairly dry, though, out towards southeastern parts of the interior, where we did see that wildfire. And we're going to continue to favor fairly dry conditions for that region as well. Now, as we head through the rest of today, notice the rain itself largely staying through the Yukon Flats, the central interior, and then kind of pulling off towards the east as it fizzles out into the latter portion of the afternoon and evening. We've also got a system that's going to sweep east across the slope. Most of that wintry mix will stay out over the open waters. But if we see a subtle shift to the south, Utqiagvik could see some light wintry mix later this evening and into the night. You can see the showery weather pattern will persist as we head from Wednesday on into Thursday as well. We're also going to be watching some of that heavier activity through the Brooks Range. South-facing slopes of the Brooks Range certainly going to see some of that heavier rainfall. So wet weather is taking hold across a good portion of the state. No day looks to bring widespread activity that's going to stick around all day long, but we will keep some of that daily rainfall in the forecast. And you can see again the central interior as you head out towards Tanana and then through parts of the Yukon Flats. This is where we're going to hold on to some of that heavier activity. As you head from the Alaska Range and then through southeastern parts of the region, notice fairly dry. In fact, Tok may actually see ongoing dry conditions through a good portion of this week until outside of a spot shower or two. We're going to see that better chance for rain through parts of the central interior. So that wildfire that we do have out towards Tok, notice the overall surface winds coming in out of the east, northeast. That's going or moving in out of the southwest, moving to the northeast. That's going to shift that smoke east, northeast as we head throughout the day. With that said, we'll still see some hazy skies through a good portion of the interior, and we're also going to be tapping into some of those cooler conditions. August as a whole has brought some fairly nice weather, 70s, even some 80s through a good portion of the interior. Now, for the month of August, Fairbanks has topped out at 79 degrees, which did occur at the first of the month. But notice this week, we're going going to largely stay in the 60s. Of course, the coolest day looking to be today in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Largely on the dry side into your Wednesday, and then more rain carries us from Thursday into Sunday. So, Kristen, daily rain chances look to stay with us. And again, no widespread all-day rain looks likely, but we are in that wetter weather pattern.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Election season in Alaska means signs on every corner, and you can often find campaigners on the side of the Seward Highway in Midtown Anchorage. Last week, a group of protesters occupied that same spot to call attention to another issue that might even be on voters' minds: AI. Joe Allgood has the story.
Typically, signs on the side of the road are for an upcoming political race.
Something's got to be done now.
Last Monday, they were more concerned with the human race.
We're worried about the future
and the advancement of artificial intelligence.
It's kind of a free-for-all out there right now.
Pause AI is a group seeking an international treaty to pause AI development until it can be made safely.
The AI swarm had orchestrated a nation-state level cyber attack on the AI company Hugging Face, taking control of their production servers in under 13 hours.
Maxim Ischuk is a computer science major at UAA who joined Pause AI and even traveled to D.C. to discuss the topic with Alaska's congressional delegation.
Congress is pretty uneducated on AI right now.
Some experts are skeptical that regulation will occur anytime soon.
I think it's very hard to imagine something right now that looks like a multilateral agreement on AI.
While Pew Research data shows that over half of employed Americans are worried about AI in the workplace.
What we're seeing is that AI usage in the workplace is largely coming from the top down.
And the interest for AI data centers in Alaska has increased.
If there's a viability for a data center in Alaska with permitting and the regulatory measures sorted out, and it's going to be cost effective for them, they'll do it.
And while Ischuk himself believes there are narrow applications for AI, he still thinks it's time to slow down.
I think that Alaskans should really just ask the question, do we want to support this push for artificial superintelligence and artificial general intelligence that is smarter than humans?
Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
Further data from the Pew Research Center shows that about half of U.S. adults use AI chatbots, a quarter of them daily, while roughly 2/3 of Americans say AI is advancing too quickly.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting. Available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.